Now see, when you study any subject, right, there are some prerequisites. So in today's lecture, we will see what are the prerequisites for unit number 1 and unit number 2. Okay. So in today's lecture, we will see what are the prerequisites for unit number 1 and unit number 2. Now say, you know about thermodynamics, right? I will just share my screen. Yes, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll discuss, okay, so we'll discuss about thermodynamics because you know a bit about thermodynamics, right? Now tell me, what do you understand by the word thermo and what do you understand by the word dynamics? This thermo and dynamics, two words are there. These two words are clubbed together. So can anyone tell me what is the meaning of thermo and what is the meaning of dynamics?
Sir, thermo means related to heat.
Excellent. And what is the meaning
Dynamics
of
means
dynamics?
motion.
Have you heard the
Dynamics
words like statics, dynamics?
means motion.
Excellent. In motion. Statics means stationary and dynamics means in motion. Right? So thermo means heat and dynamics means in motion. So what is thermodynamics? It is a science where we study heat in motion. Now see, in today's lecture, we are going to just discuss about the basics, right? We'll be just discussing the basics, right? We have not yet started with the syllabus. One more lecture we will dedicate to basics, right? And from fourth lecture onwards, we'll start with the actual syllabus. Then we will go bit by bit. Unit number 1, point number 1, right? That we are going to start. But in this session, we are going to discuss about the basic concepts, the basic prerequisites. Okay. Now see, thermo means heat, right? And dynamics means in motion, right? So it is a science which deals with the conversion of heat into work, right? Now see, a simple picture is there, right? In old days, steam engine was used, right? Can anyone tell me how steam engine works? In old railways, there was steam engine. Nowadays, no one uses steam engine, right? So can anyone tell me how a steam engine works? Which energy gets converted into which energy?
Heat energy is converted into the
Yes, very good.
Mechanical
Heat
energy.
energy is converted into
Mechanical energy.
mechanical energy.
mechanical.
Excellent. Now see, basically we are using input as coal. We are carrying out combustion of coal, right? So initially we are converting chemical energy into heat energy, right? Then this heat is carried to water, because of which water gets converted into steam, right? Because of which water gets converted into steam. Now, when this steam comes in this piston cylinder arrangement, when this steam comes to the steam engine, what will happen? It will exert a force on the piston, because of which piston will move from BDC to TDC, right? So it will simply move from one position to the other. And because of which there will be mechanical energy, because of which these wheels will move. This is crank, this is connecting rod, these are the wheels. All these things afterwards we'll discuss, right? That how actually mechanism is there. What is 4-bar mechanism? That we will discuss afterwards. In first year, right? You have to just understand that how energy is converted. So initially, chemical energy of fuel gets converted into heat energy. Then that heat energy, right, is given to water, because of which water gets converted into steam, and then that steam is used to drive the piston, and because of which the wheels moves. So there is conversion of chemical energy of fuel into mechanical energy. Whenever there is linear motion or rotational motion, we say that mechanical energy is there, right? So this is how heat is converted into mechanical work. Heat is converted into work energy. So simply we are converting heat energy into work energy. All of you, are you with me? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So as an engineer, we have to convert heat energy into work energy, right? Now tell me, what is the first law of thermodynamics? Can anyone tell me what is law of conservation of energy?
Energy can
Sir,
neither
energy
be
can neither be
created
created or not be destroyed.
Destroyed.
Okay. Anyone likes to complete this law? Whenever we speak about any
It's
definition
only
or any,
converted from one form to another.
excellent. It can be converted from one form to another. Three things are there. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. However, it can be
Destroyed.
converted from one form into the another form. Now see here, we have converted heat energy into work energy, right? Okay.
Sir.
Now we have done the conversion of heat into work. Right? These are the people who have contributed to thermodynamics, right? Maybe in 11th, 12th, you have studied this. Then the next question for all of you is that I don't know whether it was covered in your syllabus of 12th or not, but can you tell me that how many laws of thermodynamics are there?
3 laws of thermodynamics.
Okay, which are those?
if body A is in contact with B, then C is also contact with A.
Excellent, Arpita. Very good. So that is first, that is zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay. What is the next?
Heat is transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature.
Okay. My question was very simple. Actually, you might not be knowing. My question was, how many laws of thermodynamics are there? How many laws? Actually, there are 4 laws. There are 4 laws. Which are those? Zeroth law of thermodynamics, right? First law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics, and third law of thermodynamics, right? So just remember that there are 4 laws of thermodynamics, right? Name of one law is zeroth law of thermodynamics, and then first, second, and third, right? Okay, anyway. Yes, someone has raised the hand. Pratik, please ask your query. Do you have any question, Pratik?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, see there, as I have told you that there are 4 laws of thermodynamics that we'll discuss afterwards, right? We'll discuss them one by one. But before that, let us see what are the applications of thermodynamics. Why to study thermodynamics? Now see, this is our human body, right? Now see, there are some places in the desert, right, where the outside temperature is 48 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Celsius, right? And there are some places where the temperatures are extreme low, the temperatures are negative, right? But still, the temperature of human body, it is nearly 98 to 99 Fahrenheit, right? Now see, inside the body, the temperature remains constant despite of the outside conditions. despite of whether it is summer or winter, our body temperature is constant, right? And that is because of thermodynamics, right? That is because of metabolism. Okay. So whenever we study human body, we have to study thermodynamics. Study of human body is also a kind of study of thermodynamics. Afterwards, I will devote one lecture exclusively for that. That is a very interesting lecture of biological mimicry, right? Whatever things are there in nature, many of the designs, starting from the design of aeroplane to design of bullet train, are inspired by the nature, right? Biomimicry, that different, a totally different domain is there. So afterwards we'll discuss that. At this instant, just try to remember that the study of human body, right? There are some parts of human body like lungs, right? And plenty other, right? Where the principles of thermodynamics are applied. Whenever you study air conditioning system, right? That is also, there also you need the basic fundamental knowledge of thermodynamics, right? In aeroplanes, while designing the aerodynamic shapes, while studying the streamlines, right? What is a drag? What is lift? How aeroplane takes the turn, right? Everything, starting from Mach number to everything. So that study comes in thermodynamics. Basically, that comes in fluid mechanics, but fluid mechanics is a part of thermodynamics. Okay. Whenever you study car radiators, right? I have just quoted one example. Need not be only car radiator, all types of heat exchangers like condensers, boilers, everything. So that study comes in thermodynamics. Power plants. You might have heard this word, power plants, or this kind of industries, right? So everywhere you need knowledge of thermodynamics or refrigeration systems. What I mean to say, there are plenty of areas where we will need the basic fundamental knowledge of thermodynamics. Now let us discuss some fundamentals which you already know. Can anyone tell me what is system, what is boundary, and what is surrounding? What is system? Yes? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you heard these words before? हे शब्द
Yes,
पूर्वी
sir.
ऐकलेत तुम्ही?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me what is system?
System is a part of universe which is under thermodynamic investigation.
Excellent, Shivam. System is a part of universe which is under thermodynamic investigation. Right? System म्हणजे अशी एखादी फिक्स गोष्ट नसते. System doesn't mean a fixed thing. Anything that is under thermodynamic consideration, that is under thermodynamic study, is called as system. Let's say I'm studying this mobile. Okay. So for me, this mobile is a system. Let's say I'm studying only camera of this mobile. So for me, this camera is a system. Right? Everything in the universe except system is nothing but surrounding. For example, if I'm studying this mobile, so for me, mobile is system, right? Universe minus the system, that is nothing but surrounding. And this is nothing but boundary, right? Boundary is a part. Boundary is a part which is common to system and surrounding. I hope I am clear to you. Is it clear
Yes,
to
sir.
all of you?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fine. There are three
Yes,
types
sir.
of systems. There are three types of systems: open system, closed system, and isolated system. Can anyone tell me what is open system? Have you studied these fundamentals in 12th standard?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So just give a little stretch on your brain and try to recall, try to recollect, and let me know. What is open system,
No,
what is closed system,
no
and what is
change in
isolated system?
energy and matter.
Yes, Arpita?
No change in energy and matter.
That is which
Open
system?
system.
No. See, I will give you a very simple example. Let's say that a vessel is there. Just consider that this is vessel. Inside this vessel, water is there, and you have just put the flame on, gas flame on. So what will happen? Steam will escape to the surrounding. Now see, this This is an example of open system because it can exchange mass as well as energy with the surrounding, right? So open system is a system which can exchange mass as well as energy with the surrounding. Now, on the same vessel, if I keep a plate and if I don't allow the mass to go from system to surrounding, it becomes closed system. Why it becomes closed system? Because now it cannot exchange mass with the surrounding. But yes, it can exchange energy with the surrounding. Heat can move from this plate to the surrounding. So energy can cross the boundary, but mass cannot cross the boundary. So this is an example of closed system. And let's take example of a thermos flask, which is closed, right? So that in that thermos flask, it cannot exchange mass or energy with the surrounding. So that is an example of isolated system. So based on transitions of mass and energy, I repeat, based on transitions of mass and energy, the systems are categorized as open system, closed system, and isolated system. Open system is the system which can exchange mass as well as energy with the surrounding. Closed system is the system which can exchange only energy with the surrounding, but it cannot exchange mass with the surrounding. And isolated system is the system which can neither exchange mass nor energy with the surrounding. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are three types of systems. Which are those?
Open, closed, and
Open
isolated.
system, closed system, and isolated
Very
system.
good. Open system, closed system, and isolated system. So if I quote one example that in that example, let's say that system is exchanging energy with the surrounding, but it cannot exchange mass with the surrounding. So which system I am talking about?
Closed.
Closed.
Closed the system.
Very good. Very good. Correct. Very good. Now see, there is a system which cannot exchange mass or energy with the surrounding. That system is called as
Isolated system.
Isolated system.
very good. Very good. So that is
Isolated.
isolated system because it cannot exchange mass or energy with the surrounding. And if it is exchanging both, that is mass as well as energy with the surrounding, it is called as
Open.
Open system.
Open system. Open system.
yes, very good. So the concept of system and surrounding is clear to you. Now see here. Let's see here. This is a flame. Let's say I want to study this combustion. So for me, this is my thermodynamic system, right? Now, this is the boundary. This is the boundary which distinguishes system from the surrounding. This is my surrounding, right? So this is surrounding, right? This is system. System plus surrounding forms universe, right? Now see, this is system boundary. If the flame is fluctuating, this boundary is moving, right? Let's say you are studying compression of a gas. You are studying compression of a gas. Piston is moving from, let's say, this position to this position. This is piston, this is cylinder, okay? Anyway, we are not studying piston cylinder arrangement. Simply we are studying this, right? So for us, this is the system, this is the surrounding, and this is the boundary. This is the boundary. Now see, these three boundaries, and this is the fourth boundary, right? Now see, these three boundaries, this vertical, this horizontal, and this vertical, these are fixed boundaries. I repeat, these boundaries are fixed boundaries, and this boundary is the moving boundary. Is it clear to you? There are two types of boundaries, fixed boundary and moving boundary. I hope I am clear to you. And
Yes,
remember that system plus surrounding
Yes,
is
sir.
okay, fine. Very good. Remember that system plus surrounding is called as universe, right? Now we have studied this. There are three types of system: open system, closed system, and isolated system. Open system can exchange mass as well as energy with the surrounding. Closed system can exchange. In closed system, only energy can cross the boundary, but mass cannot cross the boundary. And in isolated system, neither energy nor mass can cross the boundary. right? Now see, just see example. Let's say this is a bottle, right? Where there is no the top end is not fixed. So from this water vapor can escape. So it is exchanging mass as well as energy with the surrounding. So this is an example of open system. Let's say, take this example. A soup is there, right? Now, if a soup is there, now this soup can exchange mass as well as energy with the surrounding. So this is an example of open system. Now, look at this example. It is exchanging, it is interacting heat with the surrounding, but it cannot exchange mass with the surrounding. So this is an example of closed system. And look at this example, a thermos bottle. It cannot exchange mass or energy with the surrounding. So this is an example of isolated system. I believe that this is clear to you. Open system will have mass interaction as well as energy interaction with the surrounding. Closed system will not have mass interaction with the surrounding, but yes, it will have energy interactions with the surrounding. An isolated system, neither it will have mass interactions nor it will have energy interactions with the surrounding. Example of isolated system is thermos bottle. Example of closed system is closed vessels. Example of open system will be open vessels, right? Water heater, car radiator. Water can come in the car radiator, water can come out of the car radiator, right? As well as it is having energy interactions with the surrounding, right? You have not heard these words like turbine and compressor. So I will not explain this thing, right? Okay. Now, have you heard this word thermodynamic properties?
Yes.
Have you heard this word?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can anyone tell me what are thermodynamic properties? Which thing is called as thermodynamic property? Measurable characteristic of the system that would define the system are called as thermodynamic properties. Right? For example, how we define a system? For example, during admissions, we used to define you, we used to categorize you, we used to give you ranks. So you got ranks based on your either JE score or CET score, right? That CET score was a combination of physics, chemistry, and maths. So this much marks you have scored in physics, so that defines you. This much marks you have scored in chemistry, so that defines you. So that is nothing but a property, right? An identification of a system by a set of known variables, right? It's called as state of a system. That afterwards we'll see what is state of a system. Right now, just discuss about the properties. So measurable characteristics of the systems, right, which defines the system are called as thermodynamic properties. Can anyone tell me which different thermodynamic properties do you know?
Intrinsic properties and extrinsic properties.
Excellent, excellent. Intensive properties and extensive properties. Kunala sangta येईल? Can anyone tell what are intensive properties and what are extensive properties?
Intensive properties do not depend upon any amount of substance.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Anyone wants to add on?
Do not depend on size of the system.
To some extent, okay, but still it is not 100% correct. Intensive properties and extensive properties. Properties
Sir,
दोन
a
प्रकारच्या
property-
असतात. Yes.
Property that an object or thing has of itself, including its contents.
See, I will tell you a very simple definition. Properties which are independent of mass are called as intensive properties. And properties which depend upon mass are called as extensive properties. Right? For example, okay, before that, let us discuss different properties. My question was, what are the different properties? My next slide is that intensive properties and extensive properties. That is categorization of the properties. Before that, tell me, which properties do you know? What are the measurable characteristics that define a system? Yes. Okay, fine. As we have raised the discussion, let us go for that. Intensive properties and extensive properties. आधी आपण प्रॉपर्टीज कोणत्या आहेत त्या डिस्कस करू आणि मग आपण त्यांना कॅटेगराइज करू की त्यातल्या इंटेन्सिव्ह कोणत्या आणि एक्सटेन्सिव्ह कोणत्या. As we have started the discussion, let us discuss which are the different properties and then we will categorize what are the intensive properties and what are the extensive properties. Okay. So do you know this first property? Yes, you can read this. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What
Yes,
name
sir.
I have written over here? Yes.
Temperature.
Temperature.
Temperature. Degree of hotness or coldness is called as temperature. Can anyone tell me what are the different scales for temperatures?
Celsius,
Kelvin,
Fahrenheit,
Fahrenheit, Celsius.
Yes, Celsius is correct. Degree Celsius. Very good. Next.
Kelvin.
Fahrenheit and Kelvin.
Fahrenheit.
Excellent. Celsius, Kelvin and Fahrenheit. Okay, कुणाला कन्वर्जन सांगता येईल का त्यातलं? Can anyone tell me how we convert degree Celsius into Kelvin?
Add plus 273.
Excellent. Add 273. So if I say that 0 degree Celsius, it means 273 Kelvin. To be more precise, when you will come to final year and if you belong to mechanical branch and if you are studying heat transfer or power plant engineering, the exact value is 273.15. Okay, anyway, in first year you will say that the value is 273. We will not go for that precise value, that 273.15. We'll just say that the value is 273. Okay, so 0 degree Celsius. Do you know this word ice point?
Yes, sir.
Ice point. हा शब्द माहिती तुम्हाला? Do you know this word ice point?
No, sir.
These are standard points. Like one is ice point, one is steam point, and one is triple point. Okay. Anyway, ice point is nothing but a mixture of ice and water. Whenever the mixture of ice and water is in equilibrium, I repeat, whenever the mixture of ice and water is in equilibrium, the temperature is 0 degree Celsius. That point is called as ice point. Okay. So ice point corresponds to 0 degree Celsius. Now if I ask, have you understood the question? Yes, am I clearly audible?
So can you repeat the question?
Yes, I will repeat the question. See, ice point is a point where ice and water is in equilibrium. The temperature corresponding to ice point is 0 degree Celsius. So my question is very simple. Ice point in Kelvin scale, ice point on Kelvin scale is how much? If ice point is 0 on Celsius scale, what will be ice point on Kelvin scale?
273.
273.
Correct. It will be 273. Is it clear to you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now steam point. At atmospheric pressure, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So steam point is 100 degrees Celsius. I repeat, steam formation starts at 100 degrees Celsius. So can you tell me steam point on Celsius scale is 100. Steam point is 100 degrees Celsius. So on Kelvin scale, what will be the value of steam point?
373.
73.
Excellent.
373.
It will be 373 Kelvin. Okay, very good. Can anyone tell me what is the relation between Celsius and Fahrenheit? How to convert temperatures from Celsius into Fahrenheit? There is a simple equation. Degree Celsius is equal to 5/9 into bracket Fahrenheit minus 32. Afterwards, we will discuss that. Okay. So anyway, we were discussing about different properties. Let us discuss the properties one by one. So I think the concept of pressure is clear to you, right? There are 3 scales for temperature. One is Celsius scale, one is Fahrenheit scale, and one is Kelvin scale. Yes. Do you know about pressure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me, how you define pressure?
Force upon area.
Excellent. Force upon area. So what is the unit of pressure?
Bar.
Yes. What is the unit of force?
Newton.
Newton.
Excellent. The unit of force is Newton. What is the unit of area? We'll only discuss SI units, right? We'll not discuss CGS units. Only we'll discuss SI units. So what will be unit of pressure?
Bar.
Newton per meter square.
Force
Pascal.
is in newtons, area is in meter square. So Newton per meter square. So Newton per meter square is also called as Pascal. It is the name of the scientist, right? Who contributed a very significant law, which is known as Pascal's law. That law we'll discuss afterwards, right? Okay, anyway. So the unit of pressure is Pascal. So tell me, how will you convert Pascal into kilopascal? How many pascals is equal to 1 kilopascal?
Divide into 1000.
Yes, Swapna, lady is correct. Can you please repeat?
Sir, divide into 1000 to get kilopascal.
Okay, correct. So if I tell you that 2000 Pascal is there, so how many kilopascals is there? If I tell you that pressure of a system, pressure of a piston cylinder arrangement, pressure of a gas inside a piston cylinder arrangement is 2000 Pascal. So it is how many kPa?
2.
2.
2 kPa. Excellent. Very good. So 10 raised to 3 Pascal is equal to 1 kilopascal. It is very simple. See, kilo, mega, giga. Kilo means 10 raised to 3, right? Mega means 10 raised to 6. So tell me, if I tell you that 2 into 10 raised to 6 Pascal is there, 2 into 10 raised to 6 Pascal. So what will be the pressure? 2 into 10 raised to 6 is how much?
2 into 10 raised to 3.
2 megapascal.
It
2
is 2 into
megapascal.
10 raised to 6 Pascal. So it is equal to how many megapascal?
2 megapascal.
2.
2
2
megapascal.
megapascal.
Okay, very good. I believe that it is clear to all of you. So if it is clear to all of you, I will just quote the next question. My next question is, if 2000 kilopascal is there, it is equal to how many megapascal? 2000 kilopascal is equal to how many megapascal?
2.
Excellent. 2000 kilopascal is equal to 2 megapascal. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. Good. Very good. Now, do you know the unit bar?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now see, kilopascal means 10 raised to 3 Pascal is 1 kilopascal. 10 raised to 6 Pascal is 1 megapascal. Right? And 10 raised to 5 Pascal is nothing but 1 bar. 10 raised to 5 Pascal is nothing but 1 bar. So can anyone tell me 1 megapascal is equal to how many bar? Yes.
10.
10 raised to 3. Yes.
10.
Excellent. Who gave the answer?
10.
10. I think it was Mrudula. Okay. That answer is correct. 1 megapascal is equal to 10 bar. 1 megapascal is equal to 10 bar. If I quote exactly reverse question, 1 bar is equal to how many megapascal? What will be the answer?
0.1.
Excellent, Saurabh. It will be 0.1 MPa. 1 bar will be 0.1 megapascal. See, if this kind of response is there, I believe that you have got a very good fundamental knowledge, right? And you will, this subject will be very interesting for you. Okay, so the concept of pressure is clear to you, right? You know all the units like Pascal, kilopascal, megapascal, right? And bar. Now, what is the unit of mass, SI unit? Yes, am I audible?
kg.
Excellent.
Sir, it's kg.
Yes, very good. Unit of mass. Mass is nothing but amount of matter contained in a body, right? And the unit of mass is kg. What is unit of volume?
Meter cube.
Cube.
Excellent.
Cube.
Meter cube.
Meter cube. Very good. Area's unit काय असतं रे?
Meter
Meter
square.
square.
Very good. And volume is in meter cube. Okay. Have you heard this word before? Viscosity?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what is viscosity?
The heaviness of fluid.
To some extent, correct? Yes. Anything wants to add on? What is viscosity?
Friction in the fluid.
Excellent, Suraj. The resistance to flow offered by a fluid is called as viscosity. The resistance to flow is called as viscosity. Right? Now there are two types of viscosities: kinematic viscosity, dynamic viscosity. Everything that we will discuss afterwards. We will also discuss what is the effect of temperature on viscosity. Now you don't have these concepts. This viscosity term is not there in your syllabus. Only basic terms are there, but you must know that viscosity is nothing but resistance to the flow. Right? Okay. Have you heard this word density?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, what is the unit of density?
kg per meter cube.
Excellent. Kg per meter cube. What is the density of water? Yes.
997 kg per meter cube.
Excellent. But what is the standard value that we take?
1.
What is the standard value of density of water? It is 1000. Right? For calculations, we take the value of density of water as 1000 kg per meter cube. Is the concept of density clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
is density? Mass per unit volume. See, a very simple formula is there. Rho is equal to m upon v. Rho means density, m means mass, and v means volume. Density is nothing but mass per unit volume. Okay, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now see, density of water is 1000. Density of water is 1000. Now, if I ask you a question, just give me a minute. This is a bottle, right? This is 1 liter bottle. So if I put it on a weighing pan, how much will it weigh? Yes. This 1 liter bottle, if it is totally filled with water, if I put it on a weighing pan, right? What reading you will see on that weighing pan?
One kg.
Excellent. It will be 1 kg. How you have done these calculations? See, in today's lecture, we will discuss only these things because see, there are two types of exams. Some exams are there which are subjective, in which exams your memory and representation skill will be tested. But plenty of exams, competitive exams like GATE exam and other exams are there which are objective, right? And for these objective exams, you need conceptual kind of mindset. So how, see, 1 liter bottle is there, right? It is kept on a weighing pan. So it will weigh 1 kg. How you have done the calculations? rho is equal to m upon v. So m is equal to rho v. Mass is equal to density into volume. What is density? 1000. What is volume? 1 liter. 1 liter means 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube. So 10 raised to 3 into 10 raised to minus 3 will be 10 raised to 3 plus minus 3. So that is nothing but 10 raised to 0. 10 raised to 0 is nothing but 1. So if you take 1 liter bottle, and if you keep it on a weighing pan, it will weigh 1 kg. Tell me very honestly, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it is clear to you, I will come to know, because my next question, if you answer my next question, it will get ensured that the concept is clear to you. Now see, inside this 1 liter bottle, if you keep mercury, right? If you keep mercury inside this 1 liter bottle, and if you keep it on a weighing pan, how much will it weigh? Do you know density of mercury? Say yes or no. I will tell you the value. Do you know density of mercury?
Sir, something
43.
No, it is
5.4.
13596. Exact value असते त्याची 13596 आणि राउंड करताना आपण 13600 घेतो. We round that value to 13,600. Okay, and exact value or precise value is 13596. So if I fill the same bottle with mercury, and if I keep it on a weighing pan, how much will it weigh?
13.6.
Excellent. It will weigh 13.6 kg. कसं कॅल्क्युलेट केलं आपण हे? 13600 into 10 raised to minus 3. M is equal to rho into V. I repeat, M is equal to rho into V. Right? Rho is 13600, right? And V is 10 raised to minus 3. So 13600 into 10 raised to minus 3 is nothing but 13.6. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
नक्की क्लियर आहे? अगदी साधा फॉर्म्युला आहे. M is equal to rho into V. My next question is, if I take kerosene and if this bottle is filled with kerosene and now if I keep it on a weighing pan, now tell me how much will it weigh? Density of kerosene is 800. केरोसिन कसं असतं रे? लाइटर असतं का हेवियर असतं वॉटर पेक्षा?
Lighter.
लाइटर. व्हेरी
Light
गुड.
असतं.
Yes, very good. And always remember that lighter fluid always floats on heavier fluid. So if
Sir,
I,
answer is
yes,
0.8.
excellent Swapnali, very good. It will be 0.8 kg. So if I keep kerosene on water, it will float on water. If I keep mercury on water, mercury will go beside. It will go below, right? And water will be floating above mercury. So lighter fluid always floats on heavier fluid, right? Now see, if density of this fluid is 800, what will be its mass? It will be 800 into 10 raised to minus 3. So that will be 0.8 kg. I believe that it is clear to you. Tell me very honestly,
sir.
is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Do you know the concept of specific gravity? Have you heard this word before, specific gravity? Just say yes or no.
No, sir.
Okay. It is the ratio of density of a fluid to density of standard fluid. And standard fluids in case of liquids. Do you know which is the standard fluid in case of liquids and which is the standard fluid in case of gases? Standard fluid in liquids is water and standard fluid in gases is air. I repeat, standard fluid in liquids is water and standard fluid in gases is air. Okay, fine. Have you heard this word, surface tension?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me, what is surface tension? What is the unit of surface tension?
Newton per meter.
Excellent. Newton per meter. Very good, Neha. Now see, I will ask you a simple question which we do in our day-to-day life. We wash clothes, right? To wash clothes, we use detergent. Tell me what happens exactly because of that. When we mix detergent in water, what happens?
It reduces surface tension.
Excellent. It reduces surface tension. So what happens? Water can easily penetrate through the fibers of the clothes. Right? Sometimes we apply petrol. बऱ्याच वेळा एखादा डाग निघत नसेल. Right? Let's say that some mark is there and we are unable to remove that mark. So what we do? We apply petrol on that. So what happens because of that? Surface tension of petrol is less. So it will get penetrated through those fibers, and when it will get penetrated through that, the dirt which is accumulated, that will be removed. Anyway, what I mean to say is that now we have to think like engineers, right? If any real life application is given to you, you must be in a position to tell the answer. एका आरटीओच्या एक्झाम मध्ये क्वेश्चन होता की डोळ्यामध्ये पाणी कशामुळे येतं, कुठल्या फिनॉमिनॉनमुळे येतं, आणि डोळ्यातनं पाणी जेव्हा खाली पडतं तेव्हा ते ड्रॉपलेट्सच्या फॉर्म मध्ये कशामुळे पडतं. Now see, I should not ask this question in the first lecture, right? I asked this question to students of second year after studying all fluid properties. But can anyone answer this? There are two fluid properties involved. Water comes in ice, it is because of capillary action, and when it drops down, it rolls down in the form of droplets, right? Those droplets are because of surface tension. Okay, anyway, afterwards we'll study all these fluid properties in details. Actually, in your syllabus, you don't have these fluid properties in details. Just you have an introduction to what is intensive property and what is extensive property. Now see, intensive properties are nothing but the properties which are independent of mass. For example, tell me what is density of this water? Yes, what is density of water? Just now I have told you the value. I have told you that water is a standard fluid. And what is the value of density? It is 1000. Now see, if I remove half liter water, right? Only half liter is remaining. What will be its density?
1000.
It will be 1000. If I add 1 liter water, then
Also 1000.
2
Remains
liter
constant.
घेतला मी. Density किती असेल?
1000.
किती liter पाणी घ्या? The density will be 1000. So it is intensive property. Anyway, in next lecture, we'll see all these things in detail, right? Just try to understand the things in a more clear manner. See, I always believe that if you have conceptual mindset, it will be very easy for you to clear competitive exams. See, I have cracked GRADE 5 times with a score more than 90 percentile. My highest score was 96.79, right? And I don't believe that I have done something extraordinary. It is very easy. Only thing is that you have to look from conceptual perspective, right? Two different mindsets are there. One is subjective mindset and one is objective mindset. So if you look from conceptual perspective, it becomes very easy for us to understand the things, and that things will be there in our permanent memory. It will be there throughout our life. And if we just try to remember the thing, if we just try to memorize the things, right, that will be stored in our temporary memory. If we have only subjective mindset, like just remember the things and represent them in a very good manner, undoubtedly that mindset is also required. But I believe that along with subjective mindset, we must have objective mindset as well. Okay, so I will just stop the recording because it is 1:24. So we'll take the attendance. Plenty of other stuff is there to discuss, but maybe in the next lecture we'll discuss that things, right? Okay. So I will just note down the absent numbers and I will read it at the end again, right? So the absent numbers are 1 to 10 all are present. 11 number is absent. 13 is absent. 16 is absent. 19 is absent. 24 is absent. 28 is absent. 33 is absent. 35, 36 is absent. 43 is absent. 49 is absent. 51 is absent. Please don't leave the meeting. I have just one more announcement. You have a mentor meeting. Do you know about mentor meeting?
Yes, sir.
See,
Yes, sir.
Kulkarni madam is mentor for batch A. I am mentor for batch B. And I think for batch C, Falke madam is mentor. Right? So for batch B, that is for my batch, second batch, mentor meeting will be on tomorrow instead of today, because today I am busy with third year exams. So the mentor meeting will be on tomorrow at 2:30. And for batches A and C, they will be on today at 2:30. Okay?
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will just note down the absent numbers. Then I will read the absent numbers, and after that you can leave the meeting. So I will just read the absent numbers. The absent numbers are 11, 13, 16, 19, 24, 28, 33, 35, 36, 43, 49, 51, 55, 56, 66, 67, 68, and 69. All others are present. Yash, what is your number? Yash Devkar. Yash, can you hear me? Hello? Yash, can you hear me? Okay, fine. I will see his number and I will mark his attendance. Yash Devkar. Okay, fine. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Need not be from the subject. Any other question from your end? Anything that you want to ask? Okay, fine. So we'll stop here. You can leave the meeting.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay.